Bro, I just finished Arcane. It's unreal, bro. Like episode 7, 8, and 9. Dude, it doesn't end. Bro, the fucking spectacle just keeps coming. Like it doesn't end. The whole thing between all the characters, they keep colliding. And they keep bringing us new things, man. Oh, don't get me started on episode 8. Caitlyn and Vi, they did not have to have that scene. And they did. Jinx and Echo, they did not have to have that scene. They did. Victor, Jace, they did not have to have that bromance. They did. Mel and Bessa, what on earth was going on? What was the Black Rose having to do with anything at all? And yet they were the pivotal of the series. And Echo being the main character, the boy savior, he jumps in out of nowhere. Like, okay, we were rooting for him, we were waiting for him to appear, and he did everything that he needed to do. And yet, somehow, he was not the main character. Somehow, there were still people that were more important than Echo, the guy who shattered time, the boy who rewinds history and saved literally everyone from annihilation. He was the one that swooped in and did all the rewind 4-second thing to save everyone, because that was in his cinematic, okay? He was rewinding 4 seconds to keep fighting the same fight just so that he can get to the best possible outcome. And he did. He beat Victor. And somehow, after Victor and Jace were destroyed together, they were mushed together, like Varus with his 2 gay dudes, mushing into one and sent off to nowhere, apparently. Somehow there were still things going on after that. Like they have like 2 minutes of aftermath, and every single scene there was something going on. Like Cinch with Oriana. How did you sneak that in? Like how can you sneak such a important event into the thing? It's like it's a cameo, but it's like not really a cameo. It's more like a main event of WrestleMania, but you somehow just sneak it in like 3 seconds of Undertaker choke slamming The Rock, and that's it. Like, and the series just ends. Like, I know that they promised a 1 hour episode and they delivered 40 minutes and 50, and yet the 50 felt like forever. They felt like the first 8 episodes of season 2 were like dragged out, so that the season finale, every single scene, starting from the fight scene, it was somehow just felt like forever. Like I was begging for it to end. Well, not really. Like I was overwhelmed with the amount of information and scenes that they were giving me, that somehow I do not even know what's going on. I forgot half of what's going on that was leading up to it. Somehow you got the entire adventure of Chase coming from the anomaly, whatever. He was climbing the fucking thing. He was climbing the valley, like the hole that he was how many years he was in that hole. And somehow the whole thing was just like, okay, that was old Victor coming back to give runes to Chase, and there were like multiple timelines, multiple possibilities. It's kind of like they were like adopting Avengers, Marvel. They were adopting like so many different things. Like, okay, you have like Doctor Strange as Victor, and then you have the whole thing with like, oh my god, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, they are setting up for everything. Like they set up. But I don't think that they're gonna follow up with it anytime soon, because I know how much money that was going into these things and how long it was, because I know people were craving, they were like frothing at the mouth for this season, and they absolutely deliver. Okay, the first batch, like the first act, it was kind of like slow because they have to like deal with everything, and it was already beautiful. Like Act One, that was what I expected from this season, like just that. But like they had, okay, for example, I just filmed a 10-second scene from episode 9, and it was like nothing I've ever seen. It was like mind-boggling to even expect this out of like Arcane and out of like Studio for Siege, and the whole thing was just like, okay, how do we put Star Guardian, or more precisely, how do we put Sailor Moon into this whole thing? And they did the whole thing with like multiple people as like chips, memes. And now how are you gonna bring in Bart? Because those are literally, those were memes. Okay, I was gonna say chips, but they were memes. And how are the whole thing are gonna move forward? Because you definitely have to move forward. The people are gonna praise this so much. I'm not the first one. I'm definitely not gonna be the last one. This is not gonna be the last video I make from Arcane. This is like the first reaction, and gonna be the first video ever coming from my channel. But I'm gonna be milking Arcane because there's so many things to say. Not even mention the intro. They were dropping hints in the intro that I had to like put it in 0.5 speed in Netflix, and I had to like keep spamming pause just so that I can pause the right frame, that they were Heimerdinger in the scene where Echo was jumping back and forth, and they were foreshadowing Heimerdinger's death, but he didn't really die, did he? Like he was just like, the whole thing was just like magic, and so nobody is really dead. They were more like halfly dead, like they were sent off to somewhere, so you can't decide whether they died or not. And the whole thing with Victor and the mask, like they're setting up for Victor, they were setting up for Warwick, they were setting up for everyone to have a VSU or ASU or VGU or whatever. Victor had that design. Okay, and Jinx had that skin. Well, everybody was talking about that skin, right? Caitlyn now has a badge. How does Caitlyn having an eye badge is gonna make any difference if the series is gonna end? And nobody's gonna make anything from Arcane, like season 1, 2. I'm not complaining. Okay, season 1 and 2, you better stop right there. Don't make season 3. I know season 3 is not gonna top this whatsoever. They went all out. Now, if you want to make something, there were hints. There was way. They were crows and the fucking sheep. Have you watched? Have you played Legends of Runeterra? You can see Sway's boats coming in. So they were that. Okay, they have crows, they have everything set up for Noxus and for the Black Rose and for Mel to be the thing that connects the thing, and now they have everything set up for Noxus. And if you have Noxus versus Ionia, dude, or even Demacia, which is like the lamest nation in the entire Runeterra, even if you're making it fight Demacia, is still something to watch. And so I wouldn't mind if Noxus was to like skip Piltover, and so just skip that and just go straight to Ionia, because now you have Singed making bombs for Noxus and for Ionia precisely, and throw them in there, and then you can have Kane's story, you can have Zed, you can have Shen and Jin. That story from those two, especially with Akali and the whole thing with like Yone and Yasuo, you can make the whole series out of that. I cannot stop talking about it. Like, this is insane coming from it, and I know that this is like practically free content for everyone because how popular it is. Like top 5 in Vietnam. I'm sitting it here 1:35 in the morning, just finished it because I had work in the morning, but I know that it was like practically free because Netflix have 5 people. It's not gonna be costing a lot of money, but this should be like $50 or $100 per watch, because that's insane to talk about it. So I'm just here to talk a little bit about it. I'm gonna make a second video. Don't worry about it, guys. See ya.